Formula 1 returns to Monaco for the crown jewel in the F1 calendar for the Monaco Grand Prix. The race which last year unintentionally held the championship deciding race which gifted the championships to Mick Schumacher and BMW Williams. However, there's definitely going to be more than 6 races in this season, as only a 6-race calendar would not officially count towards to being an official championship. As ever, the Monaco circuit will be all about the driver more necessarily than the car, so expect to see a whole range of drivers in the mix for pole and the race win. Alfa Romeo were looking to keep their win streak at the circuit alive, as Kevin Magnussen won the unintentional final race last year, and further upgrades to the AR20 look to be working well for the team. Williams also looked to sneak a podium or better this weekend, with the new car not working as competitively as it was last year, with the team still having to acclimatise themselves with the new Honda power units. The upgrades, though at Spain, proved to be working well for the British outfit. From one British outfit to another, Aston Martin know that realistically this could be their last chance at a good points haul, but every driver will score points, this being a wildcard race. The top 10 points finish could seal their fate ahead of any other teams like AlphaTauri. Toyota, though, looking mighty as ever. The black and red cars, once again the absolute class of the field, both cars with an easy gap to the third quickest in all practice sessions. We're looking to replicate that on a track where many thought they could struggle. Hey guys, Renault here. Welcome back to Formula 1, this time for the Monaco Grand Prix, the first night race of the season. And as you can see there, it's not actually Toyota on pole, I think, for the first time this year. As we've got Hulkenberg there, it looks like taking pole position there for Renault. We have Lance Stroll down at the complete other end of the grid in P20. The Canadian not quite getting a lap together. Then we have Matsushita there starting in P7, so it's like the choices, they showed pace throughout practice, and maybe when it comes to everyone else turning up the engines, and that not quite looking so good this weekend on a track where, especially they could struggle with Monaco being all about the downforce, and with only one race straight, they can't really use their engine power to their advantage. Coming on to the formation lap where you can get a first look at the running order for all of these cars. It's Hulkenberg who takes the pole position and the points that come with it, the 5 points, this being a wildcard race, with ourselves in second, the Hamilton just behind us in third. Then with a good qualifying in the other round starts from P4, ahead of Mick Schumacher with the great lap to start 5th in the Williams, ahead of last year's winner Kevin Magnussen. Matsushita, as he only starts from 7th, ahead of the other Williams and Latifi, so the upgrades for the Williams appear to be working well around this circuit, with Haryanto and Vettel running off the top 10. We have the first of the medium runners with Lando Norris in 11th, ahead only of Max Verstappen, as the lead Red Bull down there, way down the order. We've got Kvyat in 14th, ahead of Sergio Perez and soft tyres, who are looking to do something at the start, ahead of Albon only in 16th in the second of the Red Bull, ahead then of Seti, Cameron, Gasly in the AlphaTauris, with George Russell all the way down in P19, with Lance Stroll, as we saw, rounding off the grid in P20. So we have the midfield quite a mix up down the especially with the Red Bulls and that down the order. And looking back at us now, starting from second place on the grid, exactly where we need to be. Ideally I want to be in pole, but we're on the racing line though, so we can maybe try and get a good start for once in the season with Alfa Romeo, although traditionally off the line this car goes absolutely nowhere because it takes a while for it still to get its tyres up to temperature. Now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Monaco Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. It's like a pretty good start from everyone there. Hulkenberg on the inside line gets a good start. We've got Hamilton there looking to try and follow through up the inside line. We can squeeze out then Vance shoots around their outside line. They're going to keep side by side. Hamilton trying to go for the lead of the race, trying to keep it through side by side. He just manages to pull it through. And then on the run now, it's still Hulkenberg now that leads the way. Ahead then of Lewis Hamilton. Actually, no way. It's a Renault 1-2 as things stand. So Verne shies up actually into second place. There's a great lightning start from the Renault to lead 1-2 in a race for the first time, I think, since, I don't know, actually probably be like 2006 probably, so it's been like 14 years. But it's a long time coming for them. All the other cars are trying to make their way around the hairpin there without any contact. But as expected for us, it's not been the best start in the world for us, as we're down now into P4 with Hamilton in front of us. So you get ahead of Shimi at least, which I think is crucial, because Shimi, he's a brilliant driver, as we've seen, he's a world champion from last year, but that Williams car is not up to scratch the way it was last year. Although I think they're actually doing better, both cars collectively, than what they did last year around this Monaco circuit. And we'll see, we're already falling away from the cars in front because we just try and get the tyre temperature. And around Monaco, when your tyres aren't up to 10, you're squirming all over the place. you're really going to lose a lot of time to the cars in front. But at least though, with this being a thinner track, this is for once where I'm actually glad it's a thin track, because we can just defend down the straight, because our Ferrari-powered Alfa Romeo is going to be faster in a straight line than the Honda-powered Williams of Schumacher behind. As we saw there, Hulkenberg puts up the first lap of the race, and Hulk's already pulling away a massive gap. Moving a bit further on, looking now at the Williams of Mick Schumacher's got the other Toyota of Matsushita right behind him. Matsushita, he's been proven to be pretty good in qualifying so far, but not quite so far around Monaco. And I think this might actually be his first time at the Monaco Grand Prix, especially in an F1 car, at least anyway, because he would have done it in Formula 2 a couple of times. They're trying to acclimatise himself with the so far best car on the grid around here for the first time. Since he's only a few places off his team anyway, so he's still not a bad qualifying for Massachusetts, but down the straight you can just see, even with the Toyota's trying to speed advantage, with how short that straight is, they just can't use it. So Shimi could be in for a long race holding up Matsushita, followed then by last year's race winner K-Mag, who's got the other Williams and Latifi up behind. So K-Mag doesn't look like he's quite got the pace he had last year. I mean, last year he was very lucky to get pole in a wet, dry session, and then had us effectively wingmanning him for half the race, holding up everyone else. So K-Mag, he's doing a good job though. Inside the top 10 where we ideally want the Alpha to be. Ideally inside the top 5, but around the Monaco circuit it is kind of a bit of a dud, where I said it is more about the driver than the car, so anyone really kind of find themselves in the mix. Then you've got the lead McLaren there of Lando Norris up behind the back here of Latifi. In this race, I think it's going to be a one-stop either way. So all the ones on medium tyres now will be going on to soft later on, so they'll have the pace advantage then. It's going to be about them trying to find a way past everyone else. Looking down towards the back of the grid now, we've got the two Alpha Tauris leading the Mercedes there of George Russell, and it's got the safety camera ahead of Gasly. I think that's how he started on the grid as well. As it's made their way through now, they're all falling way back a little bit from Perez in front, because Perez they started on a set of the soft tyres, so it makes sense that the Alpha Tauris here would be falling back, and both of them definitely holding up the Mercedes of George Russell. Once again, the motor's looking an absolute handful around this circuit. And Kvyat wasn't too much further in front, and you got one shot there just dropping off a little bit down on the back, so maybe he got some kind of damage or car issue, because he started on soft tyres as well, so he should be all over the back of this Kia car, so maybe some kind of issues there for the Canadian. Not too sure about that, and let's see how his pace goes throughout the rest of the race. But that Aston Martin, especially on soft tyres as well, should be right up the cars behind the cars in front. But now then, all the way on to lap 10, there was a reason why we're looking at everyone else, because in our race, not a lot has really happened. We've maintained the gap to the cars in front. We've pulled a little bit of a gap to Shumi behind us, edging out a little bit on him every lap. Around Rascasse at the final few corners. And Hamilton actually coming out. So Hamilton's got some sort of damage. He's got a puncture maybe? Because this is easily a one-stop race. So Hamilton, I don't know why he's exactly coming in here. As they're going for a really pissed off here from Toyota to try and jump. Cars in front, and it's going to be, I said, the hard tyres of it is. It is Toyota playing a strategy gamble to try and get Hamilton out ahead of Jean-Luc Verne. Looks like Verne was being a little bit of a roadblock, possibly once again trying to help out his teammate Hulkenberg, who was way out in the lead. Hamilton there, Toyota, fair play to them, they found a gap, they found some clean air for Hamilton to try and bang into what he needs to come out there in front of the Alpha Tauris. Looks like he's just about going to do so. Toyota there, time that gap to perfection, although he's not going to be too long to catch up to the cars in front, so Toyota really, they're planning on Renault and everyone else reacting to that. If Hamilton gets stuck up behind the slower cars, then we can all just overcut him and stay out in front. Then you've got one of the rebels there, Albon stuck up behind the back of Sergio Perez. And onto the hard cut there, onto the end of that lap, the Renault there, Verne, does come into the pit lane, so Renault, they are reacting to Hamilton in the scene, even with the other cars coming in, and they could get boxed in behind. But now there's going to be a medium tyre, this is where the gamble is, and Massachusetts there comes in, he holds Verne in the pit box. Now that is either the masterstroke strategy for Toyota, or the most luck they've had so far in a race. And Machita just coming in at the exact time Verne was going to be released, and actually there goes Hamilton, he's jumped Verne, and Hamilton there with the time that Verne got stuck in the pit lane, was just able to jump the 2017 Drivers' World Champion. And now Hamilton is trying to make a move on the Red Bull side, it's going to be a crucial move to put a car between himself and Jean-Luc Verne, a car that needs to pit yet. That's on the medium sides, which is going to be going a lot longer into this race as well. And Hamilton there decided to put up an absolute massive stroke there for strategy. And the hard tyres is easily more than enough to get to the end, so maybe Toyota was seeing that they're not really going to get higher than third in this race and looking to consolidate the points that they can get from this race. And back to us making our way here through the middle part of the lap. It's still Hulkenberg that leads the way. We've got Latifi now behind us on the Source set soft tyres. So us three looking to go long range, but Latifi is absolutely nowhere near us. You couldn't even see him on the minimap, he's that far behind. Now then Hulkenberg squeezed away into the pits, and now we're going to follow him in. And for us, it's also going to be a set of the medium tyres to take us to the end of the race. So for us, I'm not expecting a net lead. I'm expecting Hulkenberg still to be had enough of a lead to come out still ahead of Hamilton. Now then we're going to a set of the medium tyres as well. There's a good pistol there from the Alpha crew. I mean, it's only me and Hulk in the pit lane, and Latifi is there. You can see coming in the background as well. So there's absolutely no pressure from the pit crews. As there goes one of the tyres, I'm not quite sure which one that was. It's like the hard time. So here's Lewis Hamilton. He stayed out in front of us, which I expected he would have, but he's not managed to come out there in front of Hulkenberg. So Renault at least keep the lead of the Grand Prix. Now then, looking at the Red Bull there of Alex Albon, I think that is holding up the Frenchman there, Johnny Glazer. We've managed to get the overcut on the Frenchman as well, with him being held up behind the slower traffic here. Although we're holding Red Bull slower traffic, it's something, especially around Monaco, what I really wouldn't be expecting to say. But neither of them got it together in qualifying. Now then, onto lap 15, we're all up behind the back then of Lewis Hamilton. He goes slowly, trying to look for him, find a way up the inside line, can squat the throttle, going to force Hamilton out wide, he's on hard tyres, managed to get the grip, he managed to force the way through on the 2008 champion into Rascasse in the 5 corners. He's not quite the Arab My Driver dive, where you got the grip on the fresher tyres and our grippy tyres as well over that Toyota. They took the gamble, thinking because those tyres, yeah, there's no question they'll go to the end of the race, but he's not going to get to the end of the race as quickly as he can, because we're only one lap later. When Renault pitted third onto medium tyres, only I think a lap or two after that is when we came in. So the medium tyres, we should definitely think would go to the end of the race. And Albon, he's doing a masterclass in holding up a Red Bull former employees. I'm pretty sure the Imagena, of course, there's a bad blood between Renault and Red Bull in terms of the engine as well. So Albon means he's not getting blue flagged or anything. He's perfectly entitled to stay exactly where he is, as long as he doesn't start massively defending and start ruining his own race. They can do well in Renault. I mean, they've got a good car this year. We've seen that from the first couple of races. They're still not quite good enough just to blast past the Red Bull, which I still really don't know why they're so far down the order. Maybe it's got some kind of balance issue, maybe, because the aero of the car is good. We've seen them so far. They've been competent inside the top 10, so I don't know why they're so far down the order this time. Now then, on to lap 17 now, all over the back of Danny Kvyat. He's yet to stop and try and look for a dive on the inside line of the Mercedes. Just have to back out with this as he's into going roll reversal from last year, and he was just holding Danny Kvyat for about half the race to try and give K-Mag enough of a lead to take the win, which he did. But now this year, it's us chasing down the Mercedes, which definitely is not up to scratch where it was last year, and it's for the fry in front of it as well. So we're effectively a pissed on the head of all these cars behind. We've got Hamilton behind us now. And try and look for a switch on line, try to do the same line, trying to go to the side line with Kvyat here as well, side by side with the Russian, going to force him out wide. Makes him gets on the curving. And gives Kvyat a poor run. Now here comes Hamilton there to try and follow us through now on his former team. Kvyat there is going to fight it though to the inside line, trying to keep it around, but Hamilton there on the fresher tyres. Despite them being a harder compound, they're going to be fresher and grippier than Kvyat's tyres, which have done the entirety of the race so far. And that's not what I needed though. I did not need Hamilton following us through though. Now all over the back then is Charles Leclerc, going to do the same move again on the fry. We're going to look on the inside line, going to force the way through, going to force him in. By the way, we're going to try to hop line through. We managed to force our way through on Charles Leclerc. That's 3 times now. He's made that move. I think we found our move. We don't need the my driver dive, we just need the switchback line. We can make it work now, up now into P4, which will be a net race lead once the 2 cars in front of Hulkenberg have actually made their pit stops. And Hamilton once again follows us through on Charles Leclerc, so we're getting good at forcing out these cars, but we're getting a bit too good at forcing them out because we're going to lose out to the cars in front as well. Now as we go purple there through sector 1, which is exactly what we need. We can see how slow the cars have really got. McLaren there and the other Red Bull of Verstappen, so I'm guessing it's probably Haryanto and Verstappen that are leading the race currently. And the longer they keep holding up the running there of Hulkenberg, the more this is going to be allowing us again. This is our time. This is our time to push. This is where we need to push. You see the gap we got behind, and then we got a good gap behind, and we just avoid the wall there. Just hop over the curve, get a nice line there through the chicane. You can just see how much time we're getting. I think we're about starting this line with about 4 seconds behind. Or we're getting so close to the wall, then we may have just touched it slightly. As we go purple once again through the second sector. We're really just getting so much time here on Hulkenberg now into the final chicane, into Rascasse corners. And we get a good run around there as well. And we just use the curve to get the car turned as well. We got no problem there with tyre wear. Now coming up to the line, we set the fastest lap of the race. And to show you, we basically caught 4 seconds in our lap. No, couldn't hold onto the end of that lap 20. Of course, through the first half of the lap, there's absolutely nothing that's going to happen. And you see, we're already a second now, so even though we caught up to them, but this is how much time we're losing. We're losing about 2-3 seconds a lap even behind these cars in front. Now Verstappen comes to the penalty, he slows down Hulkenberg, we're diving to the inside line! On the inside line, we're going to force Hulk out wide, we can catch him napping and keep him side by side with the German. We try and make our way through up the inside line, we do! We make a statement out into the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. We've just had the most opportunistic move I think I've ever made in any Grand Prix in my career so far. I think the most opportunistic move I think I've ever seen in general. Verstappen slow down Hulkenberg, coming into the pit lane, because from you come from the racing line into the pit lane. Slowed up Hulk just enough. We had that split second decision to try and go for that move and we made it stick. So now for the next 18 laps of the race, we've just got to try and hold on now to this position. We've seen Hulk has a mighty pace. He took pole. He had a massive lead in this race, so he was about 5 seconds or so in front of us. We just kept eating at that gap. Which, if those lap cars, if those midfield cars weren't there, there's no way I'd have got this lead. Now looking at the Mercedes then of Danny Kvyat, who's now made his pit stop onto hard tyres. So let's say everyone else, maybe it's saying that the soft tyres weren't the way to go, which is a bit of a surprise actually, because you see what I did last year, I did about 30 laps of the race or something stupid like that on the medium side, went on to soft, so I blasted at the end. So you definitely can do the alternate strategy, which is just doing what we normally do the other way around. Then we've got the Alpha Tauris in there. All the medium-sized cars went on to hard tyres, which really doesn't make any sense. If you go on the alternate strategy to go longer at the start, I hope everyone else gets held up in traffic to gain your time that way, then you pay in for soft tyres and then blast past everyone like I did last year. So again, it makes really no sense. And looking at our teammate now, Kevin Magnussen, who once again still has the Williams of Nicholas Latifi up behind him, so once again these two have been following each other around. And pretty sure Latifi, he's learning a lot about the Monaco Grand Prix and how to race it in a Formula 1 car. Given that's it, as like Matsushita, it's going to be his first time here in a Formula 1 car. He's done this race a couple of times in F2. And he's sticking with the Alfa Romeo, so the Williams upgrades, it's promising, I have to say, promising for the Williams team, because they're not where they were last year, which was race winners, championship winners as well, doing the double again. But the upgrades, they're definitely there. They can definitely compete with the front runners on their day, and if they can keep continuing to upgrade this car, then things could definitely be on the up for the car. Which with the livery they got, I really do like that livery. Honestly, they definitely refined the rocket livery more than what I had last year. I mean, they started just with like a toothpaste car before just going back to their traditional colours of the dark blue, and they've really managed to work their colours in with the rocket sponsorship this year. And we got back up front, we got Matsushita up behind Shimi. Once again, so these two still been keeping it the same almost, and Shimi proving why he's the world champion. He's not cracking under pressure, for that Toyota behind is so much quicker than that. As I was saying, the Williams have made upgrades, but the Toyota is just so much quicker than everything else. I mean, this is a race where they're expecting to struggle, and Matsushita, from his not so great qualifying, I mean, in a normal race, P7, you could easily make up places from there. But the Monaco Grand Prix is the one race where you need to qualify well. I'm pretty sure Frank's going to be pretty happy with this, so he's seen the job that his driver Mick Schumacher, defending world champion, although he's more likely to defend his position from Matsushita than he is to end up defending his championship come season end. It's only the 6th race, so there's still plenty of time yet to go. There's still plenty of time for Williams to still make further upgrades. Down to lap 37 of the race. Hulkenberg still all the way backwards now. We managed to pull away from him a little bit. He dropped back, now he's all the way backwards with 2 seconds down. Our tyres are absolutely finished. We used them way too early trying to defend our position from Hulk earlier on. When we were trying to defend him, trying to actually catch him and make that position. I went for it. I saw the lap cars. These kind of lap cars, the midfield cars holding him up. And I knew that was the time I had to push. Because otherwise Hulk was just going to run away with the win. And Hulk, he's won a race before in Formula 1 back in 2014 at the Austrian Grand Prix. He's took a few podiums for back then Force India as well, so he definitely knows how to drive a Formula 1 car, definitely knows how to drive an F1 car to victory as well. It's actually a car that's not the fastest car on the grid. Now we actually managed to pull away a bit from Hulk, so maybe his tyres are starting to reach the cliff now. We've only got 1 lap and a half of this race left to go. And now this is where we can use the Monaco Grand Prix, the track layout, to our advantage. We saw last lap we're about 2.5 seconds down on our fastest lap. And with 2 seconds down as well, but Hulkenberg, if we're just fast down the straight and through up to the casino section, which has been getting a huge slide that is no, we see our tyres are absolutely finished now. In the words of Lewis Hamilton, my tyres are gone. Although, unlike Hamilton from the real life 2020 British Grand Prix, my tyres are all at least still inflated and attached to the car. Now, I just need to stay that way for one lap with 3 seconds down on my fastest lap. That is how much my tyres are absolutely finished in this race. There's like Hulkenberg, it's like he decided to have the same issue now. He's on last lap, he was all over the back of us, but now he's not managed to reel in that gap that he had to us. And we've got Hamilton there. This is maybe why Toyota put him on the hard tyres. They knew he could push. He could push to the end of the race. It was like the time he's lost though on this hard tyres is just too much though. Because you can see him on the mini map, he's a little bit behind us. And you actually got Vern now coming back in his place as well, so maybe Vern could probably do something as well. We're doing a Hamilton for 2016 in real life Abu Dhabi. We're just backing up the field now. We're just fast where we need to be fast, which is down the start finish straight and into tunnel. And you can see Hulkenberg's backed off completely now. His tyres are finished as well. This is the gamble that we took, and the gamble which looks like, unless we get a puncture, God forbid, because it's actually going to work out for us. And then you've got 1 set left to go, just crawling our way here through the swimming pool sector, 1.5 down. I mean, we say crawling. In Formula 1 lap time terms of crawling. And we get a huge straight once again, almost hit it into the wall. And we make the same thing again, just trying to cover the space of that curb and the road tyres that absolutely don't want anything to do. I think we hit the wall there on the final corner. Hulkenberg though. He's right up behind us now, coming up now to the finish line. He's got the DRS wide open, coming on out to the line. We're just going to hold him off and we win the Monaco Grand Prix. We take our first victory here in the Principality, I'm pretty sure that is. We take our first victory, crucial victory for Alfa Romeo this season as well. Those upgrades we had, they're working well. They can get a nice view there. The fireworks going off for all the other midfielders and forwards back of the cars there. Still coming around yet to finish this race. Now we have ourselves top step of the podium. We actually have a podium here at Monaco now. It's not just on the street like it used to be, which I honestly prefer that how it used to be. They see the team celebrating 2 for 2 wins in Monaco. We got it last year. We got it this year as well. And now we have Charles Leclerc P15, which normally wouldn't be points, but luckily for the Monegasque home race, that is going to be points for him this time out. Now we have ourselves there now on the podium, along with Hulk there second and Hamilton there in P3. So the 3 teams you honestly would expect to be on the podium, but reasonably not in the order that you think that they would be. And we spray the champagne now. Our first victory in Monaco, and it couldn't have come at a better time as well. We really needed some championship momentum now with Hamilton having such a lead. I mean, there's still a long way to go, but this, honestly, this could be the turning point already for our championship campaign. Taking a look at the results, and we take the win and the full bag of points as well. The 26 points for getting the win and the fastest lap, with Hulkenberg just under 2 tenths behind us in the end, and Hamilton in P3. Vern with his best finish outside of, best finish. Actually, no, you got a podium at Brazil. So yeah, still a good race though from Vern, finishing where he started, and Mick Schumacher as well, holding off Matsushita all race. With K-Mag down in 7th, we did at least beat Nicholas Latifi. With Vettel, good race from him, up into a 9th place from 12th or 13th on the grid. Ahead then of Haryanto in P10 for McLaren, with Perez getting some good points once again for Aston Martin in 11th, with Norris running off the top 12 in the second McLaren. And because it's a wild card race, we look at the bottom half of the grid as well, because they all scored, and Max Verstappen only P13 in the lead of the Red Bull and Red Bull backed cars. Stroll with a brilliant race from 20th up to 14th in the second Aston Martin. Ahead then of Charles Leclerc is all finishing in P15. Dan Kvyat only 16th in the Merc. Ahead then of Albon in the second Red Bull. With the second Sergio Sette Camera down in P18. And he's getting 3 points, but he did at least beat his teammate. And George Russell, a terrible race from the Brit, coming home last, but he did at least finish the race. So taking a look at how that changes the point standings. And up front, it doesn't really change a lot. Hamilton still has a massive lead of 33 points over Nico Hulkenberg. With Matsushita still in third on 75 points. But we, though, with that win, we get up now into 4th place. On 68 points, we get ahead then of Jean-Eric Verne. And we go down to Kvyat still in P6. Quite a gap back to Verstappen in 7th. Latifi with a good race gets up into 8th place, with Sergio Perez also up now into 9th. Sebastian Vettel riding off the top 10. That's a lead Ferrari, with K-Mag now up into 11th, with Mick Schumacher finally up into the top 12 on 23 points. That knocks Albon out now down into 13th on 23 points, 1 point clear of Lando Norris. In turns 2 points clear then of Haryanto. And Sette Camera drops now to 16th place on 19 points, 1 point clear though of the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. So that's still showing Ferrari have a long way to go for improvements. George Russell only 18th on 12 points, ahead then of Charles on 8. Moves ahead of Gasly, drops Gasly down into 20th now, who's only on 4 points. And finally now looking onto the constructor standings, and Haas still have a massive lead, 49 points clear then of Renault, but I think the gap from this race has come down a little bit. And then we've got Alfa Romeo still looking ever more set in 3rd place on 98 points, almost breaking the 100 barrier. And you've got Mercedes 4th on 57 now, only 3 points clear of Williams, who had a really good race here to close the gap, as well as getting ahead of Red Bull and Ferrari in this race as well. They dropped down to 6th and 7th. Then you've got McLaren 8th on 42, ahead then of Aston Martin who were 9th on 38, 15 points clear of AlphaTauri, who bring up the rear on 23 points. Remember to vote for your driver of the day with the poll link that'll be in the description. Also leave a like on this video if you enjoyed the race, leave a comment down below what you thought about it, and subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out any future uploads. Also linked down in the description will be the wiki for this season, along with all the past seasons, past teams, drivers, everyone as well. So if you fancy to read about how the season's going, or past seasons have gone, and if you want maybe even a sneak peek of what's come up in the future, definitely go and check that out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.